I have this asset sitting here that has close to 1 million followers. These internet profile pictures were more than just JPEGs on the blockchain.
You'll be surprised that I've started rejecting clients.
If the only mechanism for you to make money is through an NFT launch, then you're in the wrong business.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Nalikes Podcast. I'm Talha Asif, and in each episode, we bring you insightful conversations with the founders and builders who are shaping the future of Web3. Our goal here is to educate Web3 founders while showcasing what other successful founders are doing for their projects and startups. Please make sure you watch till the end as you learn practical and actionable steps that you can apply to your own projects or startups today. Today's guest is Leon Abboud, who is a very special guest. Leon is, first of all, a really good friend and one of the very first few people that I connected in the space, in Web3. So I'm personally very excited about this, and I want to see what he has been up to in Web3 marketing, and ask him questions and advice for other founders in the space. Leon, my man, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on.
Talha, my man, of course, bro. It was a great pleasure when I saw your invitation. I couldn't but say yes. Every time we met, it was a great pleasure. You radiate good energy, and also you're one of the smartest guys that I know in the blockchain development space. So anytime, man, I'm excited for this conversation.
Amazing, Leon. So Leon, you are kind of famous in the Web3 space, so people don't really need a lot of introduction. But again, still, that's a ritual on this podcast. I like to ask people who were there before Web3. So who was Leon before Web3?
Famous is a big word, man. I do appreciate the kind words. But really, man, before Web3, I was a community builder at heart. The reason why community building has really been a career that stuck with me from the very beginning is because it was community that actually changed my life. I grew up as a kid very much more introvert than the Leon you see today. My nemesis was a pretty woman. I could not muster up the courage to go up and speak to anyone, let alone a cute girl. And I spent most of my life like that quieter kid at the back of the class. Until one day, I received an invitation from a friend of mine telling me, "Hey, Leon, I'm actually going to this gym. Do you want to join me?" I was probably around the age of 14, 15. It was a UFC gym. And ended up accepting the invitation. And this became the beginning of a new journey for me into sports, into the place even a decade later that I still go today every day, where I've built my character, where I've built a group of friends, where I've met all my partners. And it was me joining that community, the fitness community, that completely changed my life. And the narrative that I have today is we're one community away from having our lives changed. Each one of us today, all of us, we are one community away from having our lives changed. So fast forward a couple of years after when I immigrated from Lebanon to Canada, during my engineering studies, started taking the things that I was learning during my classes, and I was repackaging that content into online educational friendly content on Instagram, especially. And very quickly, for some reason, the people, what I thought was interesting and I was turning into content, other people thought was interesting as well. And I very quickly built one of the fastest growing Instagram communities for engineers. And the reason I fell in love with doing that, with bringing people together, was because of that journey that I had earlier, where that changed my life, and I was seeing people's lives getting changed to that community. And that was my experience, my very first taste of community building around 2016, 17. And today, my online community is sitting at over 1 million followers, and now helping brands in Web3 build their own community and change people's lives through that.
How did that transition happen? Like, you're building this community on Instagram. I've seen your page. It's very interesting. And one question I always had, you had the account private. Like, at some point when I tried seeing your page, your account was private. So I had to follow then to see, was it a tactic to get more users? At some point it was.
If it was private, that was most likely around 2022.
Yeah, something
It was
like
around
that. Yeah.
2022. There was a pivot point that I was making with the brand. I ended up bringing on a team of people, and now it's all automated. But back then, I was still doing it, and I was scaling Unfungible, and I just didn't have the bandwidth to do it. And I mean, a lot of lessons to learn, by the way, from worldwide engineering. A lot of, if I could go back in time and do things differently, I absolutely would, and I'm happy to dive into that. But yeah, there was a transition period between like, okay, what am I going to do? I have this asset sitting here that has close to 1 million followers, but then I have this product market fit in an industry that I'm very passionate about. What is the right play to do? And one thing I'm very bad at is multitasking. So I was like, okay, let me put a pause on worldwide engineering for a couple months, figure out what the next steps are going to be. And today it's fully automated. I have a team that's working on it. I literally spend no time thinking about it. But the transition into Web3 happened. It happened very organically, like a lot of people. Because I was so immersed in the technology space, I was pretty much scanning the internet every single day for fresh content that I could publish. One thing around 2021 that I was starting to get exposed to was that combination of three words that I had never seen before, which was NFT. So, like a lot of people, I started looking deeper into it. I started publishing a bit more content around NFTs. Oh, this Bored Ape just sold for 7 figures. And through that exposure, I had that click. I had that aha moment where I realized that these internet profile pictures were more than just JPEGs on the blockchain. They were the new layer of the internet of identity. It allowed people to build an online identity around something that is scarce, exclusive, and that had value. And I realized through that, oh, this is actually the way I see it. NFTs are the greatest mass consumer innovation since the iPhone. And after realizing that, I started diving a little bit deeper into that ecosystem, and I decided that the next chapter of my career was going to be around this emerging technology.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So you weren't really interested in like most people get into the spaces because of the price speculation. So you were interested in the community aspect of it or the ownership aspect of the NFTs. Like, what was the thing that pulled you?
I mean, I tried to trade like a lot of people. Obviously, the promise of return is very attractive. Financial gain is the most powerful force of nature alongside mating. So it was definitely an industry that it was definitely something that I tried doing. However, I was never successful. I don't think I've ever had a positive trade on my NFTs. Like never. I'm a diamond hand, and because I had so much conviction in the technology and in the communities that I was investing in, I just diamond held everything to zero. Like I still have my bags from the last bull market.
Amazing.
Some hidden folder on OpenSea.
Yeah. So that's how you got. Yeah, please continue.
Go ahead, Talha. Go ahead.
So what I was trying to ask, okay, so that's how your transition was in Web3. Then why did you decide to, first of all, start helping projects and then build a business around it? I mean, what was the problem that you saw or the opportunity, or like, what was your motivation to start another company? Was it like me, selling shovels instead of digging gold, or what was your vision?
It's a very good question, Talha. I appreciate that question. There's a two-part answer with this, Talha. The first one would be strategy. The second one would be passion. Between 2019 and 2021, what I was doing was scaling e-commerce brands. And what the blueprint would look like is you would find a winning product, you would build a brand around it, and you would then sell that brand to someone who had the logistics, ability, and budget to scale that even further. So that was the game I was in. It was the direct response e-commerce game. And although it was fun and profitable, one thing it wasn't was fulfilling. Because any direct response marketer would know that when you're in that game, you're pretty much looking for your next flip. You're looking for your next product. You're not necessarily passionate about what you're building. Instead, you're passionate about what are people buying. That's the game. So I knew this was a great in-between transition point for my career, helping me build my personal income, but also my skill set. And then when Web3 happened, I also realized the second part, which is the strategy. I've noticed that for Web2, for the internet revolution, between 2000 and 2000 and the early 2010s, every player that was early on a new technology, on a new technological innovation, whether it's starting to publish early on YouTube, whether it's starting to build products on the internet early, all of these people got the first mover's advantage. And these were the people, the giants through which the next generation of online marketers were able to learn from and were buying the products from. And I saw this in Web3. I was like, this is a new industry. I bet that it's going to be here in the next decades. And I saw the opportunity of being early in an industry as a thought leader, as a service provider, and as an inspiration to a lot of other builders that could allow me to build my name, cement the brand Unfungible, and cement my name in an emerging industry so early on. So those are the two parts, passion and strategy.
Amazing. So tell us more about Unfungible.
What do you want to know?
What do you guys do exactly? I mean, I think since I remember the way I got in touch with you was that I saw your landing page. There was a Calendly link and I booked a call. So from that landing page to this landing page, I think I've seen all the pivots that you've done. So tell us, like, how did you start it? And what were the problems, or again, like you said, right, strategy. So from your side, it was strategy and passion, but from your customer side, what was the problem that you were trying to solve for them, and then what has Unfungible evolved to today?
That's a very good question. By the way, yeah, one thing I'll say about you, you're very good at business development. I remember you helped you found the link to my website. You booked a call, and then we had a conversation. You were like, "Hey, I do this, you do that. Let's find a way to collaborate." And I know this is the primary mechanism that you got most of your customers through networking. So shout out to you, man. You're very good
Thank
networker.
You. Yeah, man's gonna earn bread. Amazing. Yeah. All right.
When it comes to Unfungible, man, what we do is very simple. We give the real builders of this industry that are shaping the future of Web3, we help grow their voice. The industry will always trend to the players that dominate mindshare. And unfortunately, in our industry, the majority of the projects, the founders, and the players that hold most of the attention are meme coins, are shit coins, are shit posters, are the types of founders and thought leaders that perhaps do not advance the industry forward. And I've spoken with over 1,000 founders in the last 3 years. I have, I think, over 1,300 calls on my calendar so far. And most of these founders, man, I can't tell you how many passionate, hardworking founders are out there that generally believe in the technology and are trying to build something good for the long term. But what they struggle in is the attention economy. They struggle to control the attention, the flow of attention, the river of attention. They struggle to push a small bit of that towards their project, towards their industry. So we help these founders do just that. The current marketing vehicle that we help these founders use is the most undertapped marketing channel that exists in Web3, which is Twitter Spaces. Twitter Spaces, out of all the marketing channels that we have at our disposals, is one of the few channels where founders have the ability to communicate with their audience on a one-on-one basis, but not only communicate, but communicate the nuances of what they're building. What meme coins have that I'll give credit to meme coins is that what they have is strong product market fit, and they have a very easy to understand product, which is vibes and price go up. It's easy to understand, and that's why it has caught on. What is easiest to explain in the marketplace is what catches on. For the other founders that are building freaking blockchain and AI integrations, a Web3 gaming ecosystem with complex tokenomics, how do you explain these things? How do you explain the nuances and complexities of your ecosystem and of your product? One vehicle, one channel to doing that. The only channel on X where you have the ability to do that is through spaces. It's the only medium where you have the ability to communicate for 5, 10, 15 minutes at a time, expand on what you're building, and inject a story around it. And I realize most founders aren't properly utilizing it. The founders that do end up outcompeting the ones that don't. And this was the vehicle through which we built Unfungible. Around. So yeah, I'll pause here.
Very interesting. So if I were to summarize, you're helping these projects or these builders who might be building something complex tell their story in a better way. And the platform that you're leveraging is Twitter Spaces, because that's how I initially also learned a lot about projects, because it's very different than something else, right? Because again, in Web3, we have this culture of anonymity where we don't really want to show our face. Most of the founders still do, but some of them are docs. But you can just anonymously communicate your ideas and visions, and people can listen into. Amazing. So Leon, I want to move towards, you, like you said, you have had how many 1,300 calls?
Yes.
So you work with a lot of founders, right? And you might have seen every kind of founders, the ones that will make it and the ones that won't make it, right?
Yeah.
And now I think by just getting on a call with someone, you can identify if they're going to make it or not. So tell what are the things that you see in founders that really make them successful, right? And one thing that you talk a lot about is I can't remember the term, founder-led marketing. That is something that you talk a lot about. So let's talk about
founder funnel.
Founder funnel, yeah. So let's talk about what does a founder needs today to build a successful product, right? Either it's like you said in the gaming space or in the consumer space or in the infra space. What does a founder need apart from obviously knowing their product or knowing the solution that it'll build, like in terms of from your perspective, from the marketing side, from the distribution angle, what does founder need to have, and then how can they leverage the founder funnel that you talk a lot about that, and also explain what is founder funnel just for the people watching that don't know.
These are a great question, Talha. Thank you for this. There's always one unfair advantage that it will always exist in the marketplace, and that is overly funded teams. The truth is you can always pay your way into a position, but that's only the 0.1% of brands that have the Binance backings, the Animoca brand funding, the millions of dollars where they have the ability to inject in the marketplace, just throw money at the problem and it will solve itself. That's important to say because it is a reality of the marketplace. And when you are out there looking at brands, like, where did this guy come from? How did they do this? Well, guess what? Look at the look at the backers of this project. But the reason I create my content is for the other 99.9% of the teams out there. The ones that have a strong vision with a strong product and are trying to build their name and perhaps are putting everything they've saved over the last decade of their hard work on the line so they can make this happen. And these are the founders that I create my content to. And here's what I'll say. The founders that have the ability to scale and don't have the 6 to 7 figure budgets on marketing are the ones who have the ability to scale activities that would be deemed as unscalable. What do I mean by this? In Web3, one thing that is very, very, very important is your reputation in the marketplace. It's about having people know who you are, and it's about having people recognize you. And why is this important? I'll give you the example. I started off in the same shoes as a lot of the founders that I create content for. I did not come in. I did not have thousands of dollars I could just throw on marketing. What I did in the early days of Unfungible is I started off by building my personal brand. And what this allowed me to do, the moment I was able to inject my name in the marketplace and build somewhat of an aura, all of a sudden this made all the other marketing initiatives that would come after that a lot less costly. What I mean by this, if you have a personal brand in the marketplace, you have the ability to get in contact with all the top influencers who otherwise would have their DMs close to you. If you are to work with them, you all of a sudden will get a lot better rates, if not for free, because of your ability because of the relationships you've built with them. Today, for example, I can start a Twitter space and I can invite a couple of my friends who are other KOLs, other influencers in the marketplace that would typically charge $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 just to appear on a Twitter space. I can have them on any day on Twitter Spaces because we've built a relationship, and they see the relationship that we have as a mutual beneficial relationship. It's a win-win situation. So that's the first one, being able to build your personal brand, not only for the obviously the audience that you built, but because of the reduction in potential awareness that you would get by borrowing other people's communities. A second example of an activity that is not scalable, but that every successful founder does, is networking, speaking one-on-one to their founders. When I consult, I don't often do consulting, but when I have like a great friend of mine, great supporter of mine, they need help, they send me a message. I often takes 30 minutes of my time just to give them guidance. What I tell these people is, okay, here's what you're going to do. You have a small NFT community. Hop on a call with all of them and hear them out. Listen to what they have to say. But most importantly, build a relationship with them. Because it is that core community that is going to support you on social media. That is going to, every time you make a post, are more likely to engage, are a lot more likely to engage in your ecosystem, are a lot more likely to engage with your posts. So all of a sudden, you're able to get free engagement by only speaking with your community. The stronger your community, the relationship is with your community, the higher the likelihood of the conversion rate happens the moment you ask for a sale, the moment you ask for the actual purchase. So it is the ability of scaling the unscalable. And most founders, the problem is they get fancy. They sit on a throne and they try to outsource this hard work to some intern or just a community manager or just go get us. In truth, it is very much the founder that is responsible of doing that. And this theory, this observation, is what led me to document a system that I've called the founder funnel. In Web2, it's called founder-led marketing. But the founder funnel is pretty much using the founder presence, the founder profile, as the primary marketing channel that allows you to build a community around your brand, that allows you to create content that grows organically. Because people resonate with people. People are a lot more likely to consume content from another human, learn from them, or laugh with them than they are to do that with a brand. It was this theory that led me to create or to coin the founder funnel. And today it is some of the top founders in the industry and some of the top creators regularly use the founder funnel or quote it in their content.
Amazing. So based on what you've discussed so far, my question initially was, what makes a founder great, right? And if you were to get on a call with the founder, and what are the things that you look for to figure out that if they will be able to build a project or not? And so far, it was like, can you summarize like what were the points?
Having the ability to scale unscalable initiatives.
Right.
Which includes speaking with your community, going out on the Twitter spaces, networking with people, building relationships.
And so these are things that anyone can leverage regardless if they have big marketing budgets and stuff like
exactly.
that. Amazing. And you have encompensated all of these things in something called a founder funnel, right?
Yep.
Amazing. Next, I want to talk about is what industries are you yourself focusing on? I mean, again, we have Web3 in general, but it's like initially you were focusing on NFTs, then recently you've pivoted into a different thing. So which industries are you focusing on these days?
Currently, the large majority of the clients that we have are either Web3 gaming products or NFT projects. These are the core two. I would say the big majority are Web3 gaming.
Got it. Now, again, going back to what I discussed initially is that I want to make this actionable, right? So one thing that I'm seeing with working with a lot of founders is that this is the common cycle. Like there are two types of client for like one that you said, right, who have big backers, big funding, they can throw as many darts as possible. What I mean by
Yeah.
that is that they can try a lot of things and then one of them will stick, right? But on the other hand, people like us that don't have really a big backing, or they either using their personal saving as well, right?
Mhm.
Or they're trying to launch a product, generate some revenue, and then continue. Now, if I was, let's say, for those of the founders that are watching, what can they do today to grow their project? They might be in the early stages. They might be, they might have some traction, or they might already have some traction and they're stuck, right? Apart from the things that you discussed about, building a brand, doing unscalable things, building relationships, what other advice can they do organically? Because, like you said, right, these are the things that you talk about on your channel. But let's say someone is not familiar with them. Highly, I doubt it. Everyone might know about your channel. What are the things that they can do to grow their project? And let's touch more. What is working in the space today? I had
Of course.
Tim from Lunar Strategy on a while ago, and I
Great
discussed
guy.
with him like what's working in this space, and he touched on a couple of points as well. So, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts as well. What strategies are working today?
Yeah, definitely. Here's a step-by-step process that I would follow from a very bird's eye view. Number one, if I was launching a project, I would start by growing the personal founder brand. What I would then do through the personal founder brand is I would have one-on-one calls or just build relationships with other top creators or other top content creators in the industry. So other founders and other content creators. What I would then do is I would then use these relationships that I have when I do roll out the project account with the first post. First post is very important because it has to come with a story. You can't just put something out storytelling driven. Brands are storytelling driven marketing. You put out the first post and then all you do is you send a round of messages to all the people you've spoken with, being like, hey, remember that project that I told you about 2 months ago? Well, I just made the post, just wanted to let you know. Don't ask for anything, just drop it there. Typically, people are well-intentioned and they will go support you on social media. And this is how you're able to kickstart the growth of your project on a strong note. That's how you see projects that have 0 followers on their very first post, they get tens of thousands of impressions because they've built a network of people with a brand, with an audience that go support them. So I would use that. Next thing I would do is I would use the connections that I have, the friends. Let's say, Talha, you are to launch an NFT collection. You send me a message. You're like, hey, Leon, by the way, I would love to bring you as a VIP into my community. I'm only onboarding my best friends and my top connections. Would love to have you in. So what you're able to do then is you're able to leverage the brands of other people, bring them into your community and anchor the value of your community very high. So you're able on the brand account to be like, welcome Leon into the community, welcome Tim into the community, welcome big creator number 4 into the community. You're able to use that. And what this does is it anchors the value of your community highly, because all of a sudden the rest of the people that are perhaps looking into the project but they don't know, they're not sure, they see, okay, all these big creators are in that project and this must be a pretty big deal. I should probably be paying attention.
I read somewhere nothing attracts a crowd better than a crowd.
Yes, there we go. Nothing attracts a crowd better than a crowd. Very well said. I like this sentence. You do that, and then you use that leverage to open up an exclusive whitelist. So you open an application form, and then you use exclusivity as a driving mechanism to bring people into your ecosystem. So this would be the 0 to 1. Now the 1 to 10 would be doing everything you've been doing more, and this is where you start injecting marketing. This is where you start working with the creators on a more consistent basis. This is where you start doing the Twitter spaces. One thing that is very important, if you want the hack or the strategy, there is none. There is none. It's really about doing the fundamentals of marketing properly and long enough, especially if you don't have a big marketing budget. What is currently working today in this market is what is called incentive campaigns, where you incentivize the people that engage in an action that you deem valuable, such as follow the account, comment on this, invite your friends, join our Discord. You incentivize these people with tokens, with points that then be redeemed as tokens, with free NFTs, with you need to have something valuable in the backend that you can use to incentivize the community. And currently in the current meta, incentive campaigns, they come in different names. Some people call them airdrop campaigns, some people call them farming campaigns. But it's the umbrella term is an incentive campaign. Having an incentive campaign built around a strong product, built around a strong community, is how you're able to all of a sudden start having that snowball effect, and all of a sudden the momentum just grows with your brand.
Got it. So
was that helpful?
Yeah, like, so if I were to summarize, so let's say if you are a founder of, I'll pause here. When we build products, something I've started, like, you'll be surprised that I've started rejecting clients. I'll tell you why. Because in the past, when clients come to us to build their product, they might have, a couple of some amount of money to build their product. As soon as we did it, they run out of money and we lose a client. So that was the churn was really high. So I thought to myself, our service isn't that bad. We build what we have asked to. What is the problem? Why are clients churning? I realized that I was working with clients that are not working on something sustainable, right? Because now what I do is that either you're funded, so you can keep throwing money, or you can keep throwing is not the right word. You can keep spending money, until you find product market fit and you start generating revenue. On the other hand, when I come with a founder, with a company or a founder that doesn't really have a backing, I ask them, okay, how will you find product market fit? How have you validated your idea? So these are two terms I ask them, right? Validation and PMF. These are two things I'm asking. And if they don't have really clear idea, tell them, okay, instead of spending money on building the product, first try, just like you said, talking to people and figuring out what works. So from your perspective and your experience, when they're launching an NFT project or any project, before they do all the steps that they have mentioned, is there anything else they can do to validate their idea? Because I think validation can happen when they're building relationships, right? Is that the stage where validation happens?
Precisely. Yeah. Exactly. Running people through your product.
Got it. So the steps would be you come up with an idea, then you start building a brand, your personal brand, you start building relations, you have these connections. Once you have enough connections, you start getting them together in a community, give them exclusive bike lists, get them applications, and then once you see you have enough traction, you launch. Now at this stage, when I'm a founder, there's so many factors that come to me. Even if I have like 100 people in the community and the markets are not good, I shouldn't know. So can you tell, like, what is an ideal situation for a founder to launch a project, keeping the market in mind? Because when the markets are down, the fear is high. People are not willing to spend any money. So what were your thoughts on that for founders?
Yeah, it's like getting married. You only have one shot at getting married, and you want to make it right. So for founders, I've been telling founders, man, it's been over 2 years now. Some founders that I've been working with, I'm still like, yeah, no, don't launch now. Am I ever gonna launch, Sion? I don't know. But if you want to launch, might as well do it well. So I very much come from the school of thought of macro patience. Be patient because all it takes is one good timing the market right, and having that one big successful launch could forever change your life. I'll give you the story of this project called Persona that we worked with. Exactly a year ago, I woke up one day and I looked at my Gmail. I saw a new meeting was booked through the website. Someone came from the YouTube, went on the website, booked a call with us. This project was still at zero. They hadn't launched, and what they were looking for was just help on the execution strategy for their NFT project. So we took them through the go-to-market, what we suggested, a lot of the things that we suggested to you guys, and they were patient. At first, they wanted to launch 2 months after our call. So they wanted to launch end of September, early October. But then they waited. They put a pause. We told them this is not the right time, and they were smart enough to know that. They waited. And then something started to happen around November of 2023. The market, especially in the Web3 gaming niche, started to pick up. A lot of people, a lot of projects, old gaming projects, the floor price just 10x'd overnight. A lot of new liquidity with being thrown. Every gaming project was doing great. So they found themselves at the perfect position because they had a gaming product. They were a gaming company with the team are ex-builders in the gaming space. So they saw the market picking up and boom, they started rolling out the big marketing push. 3 months after that, they became the most successful NFT project launch of 2024, even until today. The whole year, they were the only project in the NFT space that were able to raise $5.5 million. I think every other project, like they were the number one project of 2024 this year.
Lots of questions here. In their case, what worked, if I were to summarize, is they were patient, right? And as soon as the market picked up, is this advice applicable for every project? Because, I mean, let's say if someone is, I mean, this is something I know it's very subjective, but still, is there a framework that people can use? Because what you've advised is that on our hand, what our advice is completely opposite of what you're advising, because we are building products, so we are saying shift fast, get feedback and iterate, right? Because you're building a product. But on the other side, when you're launching a community or an NFT project, the advice is different. We're saying, you wait until you get the time right. Is there a time limit to when wait? Because again, in order to wait, you will need to have runway, and that is the thing that you're trying to get. So it might happen that in you waiting, you might run out of your runway, and then there is no launch. So what are your thoughts on that? There might be a lot of projects in this position, because I was a call early, just before this podcast, I was on a call, and the founders were an NFT project. I don't want to share the name, and they were like, we're just waiting for our mint. And when minting was just waiting for the market to turn up. So what's your advice on that?
Yeah, I can only speak to what I have experience doing. If the only mechanism for you to make money is through an NFT launch, then you're in the wrong business. Because even an NFT launch is not the most profitable thing you can do in Web3. And the liability that comes with having a community is too high. So if you don't have a sustainable product that is generating revenue, or a sustainable service like Nalikes, like ourselves, that is generating revenue, then using NFT launches as the main mechanism to make money is not the right way. Persona, for example, they had the top 5 most successful token on BNB. Like they already had something going on for them. So I would not recommend starting off with the NFT collection as like your main product, as the main product. I would start off with a product that already has product market fit, or I would start off as a creator that is already generating money through your content, that already has a community, that already has a service that you're providing, and then launch. And I know this is not what most founders need to hear or want to hear, but I generally do believe that is what they need to hear. Because even after they launch and they make money, now what? You're going to be worst position you want to find yourself in is now having a community of 10,000 people that hate you. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
That's game over for your career in Web3. So
lots of insights there. So my question is then, who is using NFTs these days? And my question that are NFT deads. So who is using NFT? Like, and what are the use cases that you see? One use case that you mentioned is gaming, but even then you said you need to be established, where you either need to have a token or some sort of traction. But then who is using NFTs these days? What kind of projects?
NFTs would be used for what I call community arbitrage. What is community arbitrage? It's community-led marketing. It's when you have the ability to overcome the cold start problem that a lot of brands face when trying to roll out a new product or when trying to launch in a new industry. You overcome the cold start problem by using your community. I'll give you a very simple example, one that a lot of people probably know. Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins started off by building their community. They had their NFT live in the marketplace since 2021. What they did is they had a strong community. What Luca Netz did is he launched the toy collection on Amazon. And using the community, he was able to raise over $1 million in 24 hours in toy sales. So boom, all of a sudden you have a successful case study. You had a sellout on Amazon. What they then did is they took that case study and applied to Walmart. Showed Walmart that they had demand on their product. And what this allowed them to do is to land in the shelves of Walmart. What did the community do? The first thing, Pudgy Penguins was in Walmart. They went out and they sold out all the Pudgy Penguins in every Walmart, which led to Walmart reordering again, which is a great achievement. Because it's one thing to get approved once at Walmart, but it's another thing getting reapproved for a second listing. If you are to reverse engineer all the steps, it was because the community was along the way helping push Pudgy Penguin as a trampoline, helping them overcome the cold start problem. There's a lot of toys that have better products than Pudgy Penguin. Pudgy Penguin have great products, but there's like a lot of other toy companies. But what Pudgy has that the others don't is a community. So where you would use NFTs is when you are very close to launching your product and you're looking for that community push, or when you already have your product live and you're looking to build a community to further push the product. Now, back in the days, and this is important to say because most people are looking here, they're like, but Azuki is sold out and they had nothing. But Bored Ape Yacht Club sold out and they had nothing. Back in the days, the NFT used to be the product. Community used to be the product. But the market has changed. The market has become more sophisticated. And today, NFTs are no longer the product. Instead, they fit within the product chain that you have, within the ecosystem that you have. That's how it's evolved. And I think it's a very positive thing for the industry.
Yeah, we've come a long way. Amazing. Lots of insights. So we covered what individual founders that are kind of bootstrapping their projects are doing. Let's talk about startups that do have big marketing budgets, right?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that a couple of strategies that you're working is incentive meta, and I can tell you we were working with a project called Shadowwork, and just because of incentive meta, they were able to acquire like 60,000 users currently on their platform that we built for them. So let's talk about, if I am a project startup that have traction, that have funding, how can I use that funding to even grow your project, right? Apart from doing everything that we just talked about, that were like more like organic things to do. But what are some other things that we can do with the capital that we have to grow our project further?
Very good question, Talha. All the steps that I mentioned, so community arbitrage, working with these influencers to get them to engage with your ecosystem and retweet and talk about you. When you have low budget, you do that organically. When you have a big budget, well, you
do the same thing
using the paid methods. Exactly. So you run what is called a KOL campaign, and instead of having a personal relationship with these KOLs, you have a professional relationship. So you tell them, hey, we have a big campaign coming up. Here's a big product that we have. Again, you need a good product to work with these KOLs. And you roll out a paid marketing campaign with them.
Okay.
One thing I will recommend...
Let's stop here, because this is something that I've heard so many times, with clients.
Yes.
If I have them, because I myself have been the victim of working with the wrong KOLs back when I had a project. I'm a founder today, and I have some capital, and I want to do a KOL campaign. I know nothing. I have no connections. I don't know whom to trust. I don't know what kind of results to get. So what framework can they use to find, evaluate, and work with KOLs? Like, let's make it very actionable.
I would use a middleman. To be honest, I would.
Middleman.
Okay, you could, if you want to do it yourself, which I don't recommend, but if you do want to do it yourself, you can use tools like NFT, like inspect.io, which is going to give you the ranking of all the top creators in Web3. Many of them, if you scroll through their profile, you're going to see them speaking about other big projects. So it can be as simple as sending them a DM. If they are in the top 300, I recommend sticking with the top 300. If you are in the top 300 and if you have a brand that looks appealing, they will typically answer you and they will let you know what their prices look like. Now, the next part is, if you do have money, I would absolutely recommend to work with an intermediary. What does that mean? An agency. Someone that already has the connections, someone that already has the relationships in place, and someone that understands how a successful campaign looks like. Because they've already done this and they know what a successful formula looks like versus one that does not. So I would work with an agency that is reputable. I'm not going to give names, but a quick search on social media you'll land on some names. that already have the connections in place. That is going to cut you the cost of learning. So the learning curve, the ignorance debt that you're going to have to pay, they already have that. They already have the relationships. So maybe a big KOL might not answer you on DMs, but they will answer you if gone through an intermediary. That's what I would do.
Got it. What kind of budgets would we need for a KOL campaign, and what sort of results should we expect as a founder? I'm talking on behalf of everyone, right? Because this is something new to me.
Jude, agencies would typically charge around $40K for a 2-month campaign. $40K, sometimes depending, it could be a 30-day campaign. So every month it's $40K, which includes the marketing budget. What defines the difference between a successful project and one not is if you're able to get traction. Here's what I mean by this. I'll give you the example of Persona. Let's stick with Persona. They started off by doing paid marketing, but then what they did is they had a product that was so good and an incentive campaign that was so good that it started picking up organically. So it was like a baton between, in the Olympics, you have one runner gives the baton to the other runner. The first runner is the paid marketing, and then the second runner is the organic. There has to be a point during the marketing journey where the organic kicks in and the project starts smooth sailing. Persona, this happened to them around December. It started picking up. Portal Coin, it was bursts of paid and then all organic. And what defines that transition is how good your product is and how well you have the ability to convince the marketplace that you are worth their time and attention. And number 3, how good of an incentive campaign you have. So this is where speculation comes in. So I could tell you, man, I've seen projects spend $40K on KOL marketing and get no results. They get impressions. They got, I think, 200,000 impressions. CPM was about $200. Didn't work. They weren't able to sell it. I've seen people spend $25,000, like the personas, and get a $5.5 million. So it's very hard to tell you, like, hey, every dollar you spend is going to be this amount. One thing I will say is KOL marketing is very expensive. You can expect a CPM about $100. So for every dollar that you spend with them, you're going to get $10. For every dollar you spend with them, you're going to get 10 impressions, which is not a lot. It's nothing. It's generally nothing. But this is Web3 marketing. So that's where you're going to need to make sure you have a good product that can then run on its own.
So I think it boils down to just one thing: have a good product. Because one thing I wanted to ask you, and I'm trying to understand, wrap my head around, is okay. You need to have something like a product that you bring all of these people in, they interact with it, and you generate some sort of cash or revenue, right?
Yeah.
If you just have like one-time launch, even if you get all these people, they might even buy, but you will not be able to retain them, right? So I think it all comes down to one thing: is having a good product first. I mean, that's.
I would agree.
All right. So we talked about KOL, airdrop meta, KOL marketing. What else can our projects doing currently and can do to grow their project? And what do you think is the next up and coming thing that projects can use? Because like I said, right, it's common. Like you work with a lot of projects, I work with a lot of projects. They can have funding, they can have revenue, but one thing that they haven't figured out is like how we can stay relevant, how we can have the attention, because the attention is very less these days, right? We have products like Polymarket that I don't know spend any money on marketing, but have so many users. Hamster Combat, BonkPod, Pum.fun, Pum.fun, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's very subjective, but how can founders, as a founder, I can look at it, right? Because sometimes all I need is a good product, and I don't need to spend the money on marketing. Next second time is I might spend money on marketing and might be able to get users, and then I build a product. So, what other things are working these days?
With Polymarket and Pump Fun, they're a combination of very strong product market fit plus very strong organic traction. Why did Pump Fun succeed? Because people were taking screenshots of, look at that shitty meme coin, or look at that trade that I did, or I just 10x'd on Pump Fun. With Polymarket, it's the same. You screenshot the odds and you can create organic content around that. So the actual using utility of the product is also becomes a tool for you to create content for your account. So you're able to give people good content that they can use. And that's why these are strong success case studies. If you are to isolate purely an NFT community, what you need to do after launch is it's the game of attention. You need to stay top of mind with people. Every big project, look at Pudgy Penguins, D-Gods, Sappy Seals. One thing they have the ability to do is they have the ability to remain top of mind. They have the most active founders. They have the founders that they have the hype man as a founder. And through that, they have the ability to remain top of mind with people.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Leon, for sharing all these insights. Thank you so much for coming on as well. I hope you found this podcast inspiring and educating. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next episode.
Thank you for that. Very good questions, man. I appreciate you.